PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to the 15-Minute Mediator podcast. My name is Nancy Gabriel, and I'm the owner of Mediation Around the Table. As a mediator, I help people in conflict come to their own resolution. I do this by facilitating conversations between the parties and asking questions that require them to actually listen to each other. Candidates for mediation are people who are more interested in coming up with solutions than they are in being right. If you think I might be of help to you in your situation, I encourage you to visit my website, mediationaroundthetable.com, and learn more about the services I've been providing to the Southern Nevada community since 2012. Thank you, and stay tuned for the podcast. Hey, everybody. All of you thousands of people who are watching, I apologize that we started late. There were technical difficulties all around. Anyway, I want to introduce my guest to you. Her name is Deeanna Hausske. And Deeanna, I'm just going to pitch it over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe how we met.
Well, thank you so much, Nancy, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Well, my name's Deeanna Hausske. I've been a realtor in Las Vegas for about 3 years now. And I met Nancy because at the beginning of this year, I started going through a divorce, which wasn't fun. And Nancy was amazing at helping both of us navigate such a difficult time and really coming out the other side exactly like what needed to happen. And no fighting. It was a very easy and smooth process. And I'm just so thankful that she was able to help us get through that difficult time.
Thank you. That's really nice. I appreciate it. Tell me how you came to Las Vegas, where you came from, and, just a little bit of personal connection for us.
Yeah. So I grew up half in Seattle and half in Santa Cruz, California. And then in 2018, my ex-husband and I decided to move here. We both worked for Costco at the time, and we decided to move down here and open a brand new building, which was a very exciting experience. And being here, we just fell in love with Las Vegas and the weather and how wonderful it was and how it wasn't cloudy and rainy all the time. And yeah, that's how we came here. And I've been here ever since.
And so, I've talked quite a bit on podcasts and written about it and all about how my personal journey through widowhood brought me to the field of mediation and showed me what my passion was. Why don't you tell us a little bit how your journey created your passion?
Yeah, in 2020 with the pandemic, I ended up purchasing my home and absolutely fell in love with real estate and the real estate process. I've always been interested in real estate, even when I lived in Seattle and growing up there. And I had been listening to a lot of podcasts about wealth building and getting to the next level and being comfortable. And I really wanted to pursue that and build a legacy for my family. I'm the only grandchild on my mom's side. And so being able to take care of the people that took care of me was extremely important to me. And then it just kind of developed into this whole new passion project. And then eventually, still working on it, becoming a really great career for me. And then going through what I went through at the beginning of this year, I've had 2 clients go through something very similar, and it was a really bonding experience. And I want to be able to help people navigate such a difficult time in their life because it's not easy. It's emotional. And sometimes going through transactions, it's, especially in real estate, it can get complicated.
Right.
And having somebody to help navigate the paperwork and what the next steps without you having to think about it, I think is just so important. And it makes the process, because you're already dealing with so much anyway, right?
Right.
Kids, dogs, figuring out like what to do and what the next steps in your life look like. And I I think it's important to have a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Is something that
Yeah.
you're working towards. Like once you've made the decision that this marriage, this situation isn't working,
Yeah.
what does that look like for you? And I feel like I'm a therapist, I'm a life coach, I'm a realtor.
But yet you're neutral. You're coming at this, and I want to just focus for a minute on how brilliant I think your niche marketing strategy is. And that's really what connected us again after yours and my business with your divorce was finished. You sent me an email that was just the most beautifully written and lovely email about how you valued my help through that emotional process and how you wanted to pay it forward through your real estate career. And I think what you and I have in common with that is we both have empathy for our clients, and we both are able to stay neutral. So maybe tell me a little bit more about being neutral in a real estate transaction.
Well, I think it's really important. Buying and selling a home it's complicated, right? And there's a lot of emotions that come with that. When you're going through a divorce, there's a lot of emotions between the two parties. And making sure that you're having a very neutral party is so important because they're going to look at it with less emotion.
Right.
And sometimes you need the empathy and you need the emotion, and sometimes you need the business aspect of it, and being able to communicate with either party and come to a very clear conclusion of what the objectives are to both sides is really important. I feel like sometimes I'm a mediator just with a real estate license and only in like this one. And I think having a really strong team around you of people that are going to put you in the right spot and help you make the good decisions. Because I remember going through that, like anytime anybody brought anything up when I was going through my divorce, I was like, I can't even think about that right now. Well, it's so like having the support team and being able to have people
let's talk a little bit about support. I was going to ask you that in a couple minutes, but since you brought it up, I tell my clients, get support wherever you need to during this difficult time. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for making your own decisions. So what I want to ask you, Deeanna, is what are some do's as far as divorcing clients moving on into their own real estate transactions? Then I'm going to ask you don'ts, but let's talk about the do's first.
Okay, the do's. Do have an open conversation about it and be respectful of the other person. As usually one person in the relationship has decided that it's done and they've processed it, and it's a little bit easier for them to let go and walk away. The other person is still getting there.
Right.
And to be patient with the other person. I think that is definitely like a do. And
what about an exit strategy?
An exit strategy. Going through a divorce is extremely hurtful. And I think making sure that you have all your eggs lined up and everything ready to go, at least mentally, is extremely important, because you don't want it to linger, because there's so much hurt that happens in the relationship. Sometimes you just need a clean break.
Right. And so you meet a client, let's say it's a woman, and she's about ready to get divorced, and her husband is buying her out of their existing home, and so she's got a big lump of cash, and she comes to you and she says, Deeanna, I need to get into a property. I want to stay in the same school district where my kids are going. How do you help? What kinds of questions do you need answers to?
Well, we need to pick a price point. I think price point and location are really going to start us off. And then going into the must-haves. What are the 3 most important things when purchasing a home? Is it location? Is it yard, pool, whatever, the bedroom count, whatever it may be, really getting to understand what people are looking for. And usually I send people homes, and by the first showing, when we go out and look at the homes, I know exactly what they're looking for. I have a very clear idea. And it makes it easier to do my job in researching and finding properties that fit that lifestyle.
And what about things to avoid?
Definitely things to avoid. It can get complicated if you have to go to a judge before you sell your home. I definitely encourage people that are getting divorced, try to do that and come up with a plan with the money before you go to the judge, because
And
the
maybe
judge
your mediator could help you with that.
and a mediator can definitely help you with that. If you haven't already talked to one, but definitely selling the home, it's going to make the whole divorce transition easier. Figuring out how you guys want to split the money, it's going to make it, having a plan in place before you go into it is
And so
extremely
what
helpful.
if I said to you, Deanna, I'm petrified about interest rates. I can't afford, what the current interest rates are. Would you be able to come up with a brainstorm, a plan B, or a temporary? Could you get me into a rental home for 6 months or a year while I'm, getting more comfortable with being financially independent?
Absolutely. I mean, the reason I got into this business is because I believe real estate is the best return on your investment. And I think it's so important to have a home. It's like a psychological thing almost, that you have this, like this is yours. Typically homes appreciate anywhere from 4 to 6% year over year. On a $400,000 house, for example, that's about $16,000 that you're just getting in equity just by paying your bills. Getting into a rental is also a great option if you're trying to transition. With the interest rates, we always talk about marry the house, date the rate. There's a lot of options where you can do a point buy down.
Say that again. I love that. Marry the house, date the
Marry
rate.
the house,
What does
date
that
the
mean
rate.
exactly?
So marry the house, pick the house you want. Like right now is a really great time because there's less competition in the market for homes. So when you find that dream home, you're able to get in and actually get it, which is fantastic. And then you can always refinance in the future, or you can do a rate buy down. So you can buy down your interest rates for the first few years until those interest rates start to fall, which is it can be life-saving,
Yeah. And so now that just gives me a whole nother avenue for me to recommend your expertise to my clients, is buying down the interest rate, and I'll, they're going to say, what does that mean? And I'm going to say, call Deanna and she'll explain it to you. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
In the few minutes that we have left, you were saying something about the current real estate market. I want to hear a little bit more about that. Where's it going in Las Vegas?
So we have about 2.5 months of inventory on the market right now, and it just depends on the zip code, but the average price for a home is right around $450 for about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with 2-car garage. And what we're seeing the market really stabilize right now, which is nice. So housing prices are holding tight.
Yeah.
We're not expecting them to dip, but we are expecting interest rates to come down in the spring, hopefully.
Yeah.
But what is going to happen with that is then there's going to be more buyers in the market. And so then you're going to be competing. You're going to have to come in over asking, all that kind of stuff. Right now, we don't have that. Right now, yeah, the interest rates are high, but now is the perfect time to buy because you can get in there and get your dream home. And with the projection of interest rates going down, you'll be able to refinance in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
To a year.
And as far as going over asking price, you can guide your clients into making a recommendation as to how much over or what else they can do in addition to the offer to make them the appealing potential buyer to a seller. You know how to do all that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Negotiation's a huge part of what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah. Likewise. Okay, in the couple minutes we have left, Deanna, I want to ask you, in your whole journey from divorce and real estate to today, I'd like you to talk about what went well for you and what you might have done differently.
Well, what went well for me is when I found you and
I
you
wasn't
really
asking
helped.
for that reason, but thank you.
But that was great, giving us the guidance and being able to talk us through and put in writing who was responsible for what.
Mhm.
I think that was really important in being able to help negotiate between the two of us, because when me and him would talk, it would just turn into a big fight and nothing would really come out of it.
Yeah.
I think that is a really important step. Things that
And
I
what
would
would you
have
have
done
done
differently.
differently?
I think I would have tried to financially prepare myself a little bit more.
Good. Yeah, get
I
your
wish
ducks
I
in
would
a
have
row.
done that.
Yeah.
Get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you to tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you, and then we're going to sign off.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Deeanna Hausske. I don't know if we can put my card or my contact information. You can email me at deanna@lauerhometeam.com, or you can text me at on my cell phone, 206-747-8824.
Great. Or you can reach out to me, Nancy, at mediationaroundthetable.com, and I will be happy to connect you with Deanna. Thank you so much, Deanna. It was just a pleasure reconnecting with you, and I'm going to send a lot of business your way. You can count on it.
Thank you,
Okay?
Nancy. I really appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you soon. See you next month.